Hey everyone, so I'm here with Casey Vu. I am seriously so excited. She's one of my star students just in general. She's definitely such an anomaly as far as like what she's been able to achieve in the last year. And what state are you in actually, Casey? I've never asked you that. I know you're in
Yeah.
St. Louis, but
Yeah. I'm in North Carolina.
oh yeah, North Carolina, I do that.
Yeah.
But basically, she has a manifestation type of digital products and offerings. And I know that's like very niche down and like very interesting, at least to me. So I want to speak to her experience and ask her a couple questions and just really recount your journey. So can we go ahead and start with like, I guess all the way back to 2019, because that's when I started to I've known you for a really long time, I think,
Yeah.
online. But back in 2019, I remember when we started working together, you wanted to be, I think, a mommy vlogger, right? Can you take us through like that whole transformation, like where you were at then? And right now it's January 2021, just in case this video lives on the internet. So it hasn't been that long, but go ahead.
Okay. So I definitely, at the time, so last year I had just quit my corporate job and I was with my daughter at home. And it was one of those things where just something inside you is like, there has to be more, but there's no one around me that is a stay-at-home mom that has a business or makes income online. So that's kind of how I stumbled upon your account to begin with, because you were doing videos on how to make money at home. And I just started following you for a while, and it was an idea that I had in my mind, but I had no idea where to start. And when you dropped YouTubepreneur, to me, it seemed like the thing, because I had made the decision that I was going to change my life and I didn't know what that meant exactly. And when I wrote down in my journal, like a business, I felt crazy. I felt honestly crazy to be that person.
Yeah.
And when I saw that you were able to build this life for your family, doing YouTube, being a creator, just talking about your life and teaching other people along the way, I was really inspired by that. So I trusted you pretty early on to invest in YouTubepreneur, but it honestly terrified me because investing in myself was terrifying because I did not have a job. I had zero income. It was just my husband's income. And to me, the logical part of my brain was like, well, you can't invest until you make money first.
Everybody says that. I said
right?
that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't even learn
it's such a common mindset block that I'm so lucky that I was able to almost like flip my mindset really early on and say, no, I'm going to do this. And it felt like I was literally leaping off a cliff, even though there's so many larger investments out there. And it wasn't even that much, but I think it's investing in this potential dream of yours that seems so far-fetched.
Yeah.
Felt hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got really excited really fast. I loved how informed all the modules were. I felt like I was supported along the way. I loved the community aspect of other women with big dreams that wanted the same thing. And I was always able to get feedback, whether it was from you or Doug or from the community members, which was really cool. And something that could be really missing from a lot of moms who stay at home. And so I was definitely enjoying that a lot. And I think the biggest mindset shift that I received going through your initial course, YouTubepreneur,
You've been through two, so this is like the first thing.
Yeah, I invested with that one. That was the first one. And the biggest mindset shift you gave me was to treat my YouTube channel as a business versus I had been in and out of the social media game for quite some time. Like my first YouTube channel was like in 2014. I was an Instagram influencer with fitness and health, and I grew it to the thousands and nothing ever happened. And so you taught so much about mindset shifts that really enabled me to see the possibilities in making money and also creating things that would benefit me financially, but would also be like aligned with what I wanted to do for other people. Because like you said, I thought the journey for me was mommy vlogger because so many other people were doing it. But I think you really challenged us to think outside of that because you weren't afraid to kind of drop truths
Yeah.
on people.
You know what's funny is like whenever I do, because we are speaking to Influencer Course Accelerator, but this starts with her journey, obviously, with the first program she took. And it's funny because when I created that YouTubepreneur program, like it was so scary to talk about digital courses in that program because being a traditional influencer, it has nothing to do with selling online products. Like really, that's kind of like going against the grain. And it's kind of telling people that what they're doing is wrong, like seeking brand deals and trying to pitch all the time. Like I knew deep down you can make money so much faster. And I was scared to put that out there, but I like put it in with definitely the second release because she joined my beta group.
Yeah.
And it was totally a gamble. So I was like, people are either going to hate it, that idea that this is what they should really be doing, or they're going to like it. And Casey was the first like early adopter to really run with it. And you guys will see how it went for her, but go ahead.
Yeah. I feel like because there was a time when you and I kind of got together to really make that game plan for us. Like, how was I going to monetize my online presence? And it was getting a little bit hard juggling a YouTube channel. And I had a clear vision on like, I'm going to make money for my family and I'm going to make this a real business because I've tried other businesses before and never, like it always fizzled out for me. Mm-hmm. So when you and I got together, we really built out a game plan. And that's when you invited me to Influencer Course Academy. And I was really excited about that. And when I joined, after I joined, I was able to create 2 courses during that time. One was
right.
Yes, I actually did. So I went from mommy vlogger to manifestation to like mindset and manifestation and helping other business owners with their mindset because I was finding that it's such a mind game. It's such a mind game.
All of it, yeah.
And if you are not supported in some way you can't see what you can't see.
Oh yeah, totally.
And so that was something that I was struggling with a lot. And I actually invested in a course program prior to ICA. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of money, but honestly, I felt I didn't get anything back from it. And it was kind of, it was one of those things where I felt kind of distraught and defeated. And then that's when Haley was like, I have this coming up. We're working on this. And I was like, well, to be honest, like I did invest in it, but I would be so happy to work with you again. And it's crazy to think that there are other courses out there about digital products. But when I joined ICA, it was completely different because it was a support system. There were other people that were more in what I was dealing with, which is really special, I think, is like being a stay-at-home mom with limited time and energy.
Yeah, no.
So it's not just like, oh, do I have the willpower? It's like so many little things that you're juggling, and it helped so much that you were doing so much of the same thing with us, and then to have other students that were in the same boat as me. So I think that's kind of like the key to ICA. It's like you make it so that you cut out the fluff of the things that aren't going to move you, and you really make sure that we stay on that road of like making money in the time that you have and the energy that you have. Yeah. Where I didn't receive that in this other course.
Interesting. I didn't know that. And honestly, it is super common for people to invest. Well, at first you think it's not common because you're like, I can barely afford this one thing if you've never invested. But it's really common for people to invest in multiple mentors, multiple products. I mean, both you and I have invested in so many different courses and probably like mentors, I can imagine. But yeah, that means a lot, seriously. And I think with the way that it's structured now, because we have since like revamped the whole program, I've even like cut out so much more of the things that I find people are going to have like a mental roadblock and it's going to take them longer to get results. So now it's like you go straight to just launching like right away, because I find that the longer that process takes, the longer you're just going to quit and give up because you have all these internal struggles. So it should really just be like boom, boom, and then you make money. Like that's how fast it should be just for your own self. Because I found people like sitting on their course idea and sitting on their niche and switching, but it's like you have to see success in order for you to see the potential. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's interesting and it's totally all mindset for sure.
Yeah.
What you're
No,
good.
you bring up a really great point about people like waiting and like, oh, I need to feel out this niche first. I need to feel out this niche first. And I think I really took your advice and ran with it when I was like, I'm going to make money moving through all these niches, because at one point I was like, I was just marketing myself as a mompreneur coach. I made money then. And then I was marketing myself as just a mindset coach. And then it was like a business mindset coach. But each and every time I made that switch, even if it was a little tweak and pivot, I made a decision like, I'm going to make money. Like, it doesn't, just because I'm quote unquote new to this niche, it does not mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I think you were always like reiterating that to people. And it's so much of this confidence behind, your price, your value, your offering, that is going to make or break people's results, because you literally have the roadmap
Yeah.
to do it. But then, it's like all this other stuff, the mental game that gets in the way.
And I think like something that is really interesting about you as a student is that you do like mindset and manifestation. You've had like massive results within just like even 6 to 12 months with such a small audience. But I know deep down it's because you are in the mindset game. Like you study that for a living. So you don't even necessarily have to overcome that kind of stuff. So you're not going to sit there internally and say, well, it's the tactical stuff. Well, I don't know enough, because you already like, since you teach that, I feel like you personally have a head start, which is obviously what we cover in the program. But that's why I think, you've been so massively successful. I want to speak to your audience size, because I mean, I don't know when people are going to watch this, because it's probably going to be up for a while. But right now, my audience size for this new program, like teaching influencers how to create digital products, mine is pretty small. Unless I run Facebook ads, like I get it. And yours is small too. So it's interesting because we both make, in my opinion, so much more money than an average influencer with like triple the, engagement, triple the followers. What would you say to like someone that has a small following, and honestly, like to yourself? Because I know when we first started working together, you probably had a small following and you were like, there's no way. But could you talk about like your follower size now and what you've been able to do with the people that follow you?
Yeah. So right now, my following is less than 900 on my Instagram profile.
And it doesn't even matter. Like, who even cares?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to have more, obviously, but
Yes. And with that amount of people, I've been able to replace my corporate income, my full-time corporate income, it only working part-time hours. And like, it's kind of crazy for me to say that out loud, because you're making me think about who I was like back in 2019. It would feel it seems so impossible. So to be able to say that now feels like really humbling. I feel really grateful for it. And it's also a lesson for myself and like everyone else listening to this, like just how much we limit ourselves and our thinking of what's possible.
Yeah.
No,
100%. And that just like, I mean, I literally get chills because as a stay-at-home, whatever, work from home mom, like there's a lot of times, especially when you have your first kid, as you know, at least for me, you feel like there is no time to do anything. And even if you don't have kids and you're an influencer or you're someone that just works full time, you think, well, what am I supposed to do? Be a slave and like work weekends and just like, live this rat race life where I'm trying to build a business and do all these other things and take care of a kid or whatever. But Casey's really shown that you do have to, whatever the quote unquote phrase, hustle. I mean, I didn't think that, like you said, you worked less than part-time hours or something like that. So it's not like you were constantly just being away from your kid at all. You just worked probably when she was sleeping, like I did. So you just put in the work at first, you trusted yourself, and now you're able to make money, while you don't have to go into a job. You can work when you want to, pretty much, right? What do you have to say to all of that? Because I think there's this misconception that you have to work super, super hard, and it's so hard to do digital products, but it's not. Like you just need a couple months of laser focus, in my opinion,
Yeah. Well, so my daughter was only 12 weeks old when I went back to my corporate job as a banker. I was working 40 hours a week. When our commute to the babysitter and to my job was an hour. So I drove an hour. I spent 9 hours at my job, and then I spent an hour before I got home, and then it felt like it was bedtime for my daughter. And I was doing that for about, I want to say like almost 3 months, and I was just like mentally deteriorating because I was just heartbroken every day. And I remember like sitting at my computer, I'm like, I rather struggle to figure out how to make money at home than to
Yeah.
continue struggling on this bus here.
Yeah.
And so when I quit my job, it felt super scary. And like to see where I am now is it's kind of like, it really is awe-inspiring, and just there's a lot of so many possibilities for other people if they listen to kind of their gut instinct about, what you're meant for, what you're capable of. Because I've always been a high achiever in my corporate jobs and other areas of my life. And I'm just like, what if I channeled that to this? What if I channeled that into a business? And I think that's where you can kind of have that affirmation for yourself. For anyone that's listening, just think about all of the things that you've been able to do in your life outside of a business. Like if you're like, I'm not a business owner, I can't do this, think of all the other things that you've been able to do, and just imagine if you could kind of channel that energy to that. Because I will be the first to tell you that I was not an entrepreneur. I had to grow, evolve, and learn, and stay dedicated, stay focused and committed, hire mentors, be willing to be vulnerable and get coached and ask for help in order for me to see the success that I saw.
Yeah, no, I think that's like the best advice for sure. And I just think it's interesting because anytime I work with any students that has success, which is most of them, and that's not to toot my own horn, but because it actually is not that hard to, as you know, make money with digital products with any size audience. Obviously, I mean, 900 people is ridiculous. But the people that have success, they become a different person, like outside the other side. I think that's for anybody, but I just obviously study this type of person, the person that makes money through digital products. And it's like when they come into the program, they are very scared. Like most people, they've never invested in themselves. And they also think like, I'm not a true entrepreneur, but outside of it, they're like, I can do whatever I want now. It's like, you don't just make money, in my opinion. And this happened to me too when I worked with someone else that showed me results. You just become a better version of yourself and you transform into like a higher version. It's weird. I know that's woo stuff, but Casey's into it.
Yeah.
I guess my next question, because I know a lot of people are scared right now, especially with the pandemic. I mean, you live in North Carolina, so maybe it's not as bad, but in California, masks everywhere. You can't go out to eat, can't do anything here. How do you feel with your future? How do you feel about your future going forward, having this particular business and knowing that like you don't have to rely on, the traditional income streams that you were focused on, like brand deals, not necessarily growing, your following, like that's important, but getting sales is like so much more valuable to you and your family. With like how the world is going, like how is your mind about that? I guess your mindset.
I'm kind of like just shocked because I was able to fall into this prior to quarantine. Because
It's wild.
yeah, a lot of the people that I work with had to actually go back to the building, back to the bank, and like deal with wearing masks every day and get their temperature taken every day. And I really like feel for people that have to like add this extra layer of stress, or just working outside of what feels comfortable when, and I feel kind of shocked that I get to be home with my family and make money still. So I honestly feel super blessed about it. And I think that's what pushes me forward in this field, because I think if I'm able to help other women do this too, like I think that's amazing, because you feel really empowered. And during 2020, it was easy to feel defeated if you let like the outside world affect you, right? But if you decide to blaze your own trail, stay focused, I think you can create a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation, and help other women, just like literally women lifting other women up. And that's all that I've been able to do, despite how hard it was for me to kind of transform into this, this newer version of myself. Because even though I'm a mindset coach, I want to humbly say that I think that's why I became a mindset coach, is because I did deal with a lot of mental struggles in growing, like up leveling
Mhm.
and turning into this new version of yourself. Because what's going to happen is that your old self, your old belief system is going to want to survive. So
Oh,
it's going to do everything to convince you, like, don't do this, don't do that, don't raise your prices, don't launch
mhm.
again, don't innovate like this new thing that you think is going to work, right? It's going to want you to come back into these old excuses and distractions. And so part of the work obviously is, yes, selling, and yes, creating something really impactful, but also like being on top of your mental game, staying on top of your vision. And that's something that you like initially taught me too when we worked together, was that's the one thing that's going to have to drive you and really keep the flames going whenever you're feeling fizzled out, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, that makes complete sense. And honestly, like, I don't know, it's just like wild because Casey's been able to do this in just like pretty much a year. I think it's been like something like a
It's
year,
been 9 months
9 months.
since my, yeah,
Wonderful.
to be able to do this. Yeah.
And I
9 months of making money,
yeah.
and it's been great. It's
And
been
you
a
know what
ride.
else is like so interesting to me is to be like super transparent. I don't think I've ever said this, but you know, we started doing Facebook ads, which is one of the scariest things. And Casey will probably be doing that shortly, shortly after this call. I don't know, not right away, but quickly, hopefully, if I convince her. But one of the scariest things is investing in Facebook ads because you know you're not techie and like I don't know anything about algorithms for Facebook ads and like you could be pouring money down a drain. You have to trust the process, and it's a mind thing too, investing in that. But that's really how you scale a business. And that's another thing that we teach in the second version of ICA. But basically, we started doing that right in April, like when the pandemic hit. And that's also sort of the time when Casey was like, let's start selling, you know, something around when the pandemic was like really starting. And we both could have said, well, this is like a terrible time. Like, first off, the election, second off, you know, the crazy coronavirus. And we could have said easily, no one has money. Who do we think we are in charging people? And, you know, there's all that kind of stuff, which I won't get into, but, you know, we could have just waited. And we both had the, you know, I think the biggest income generating years of our life during the coronavirus. So all of those things that you think, you know, are pushing you to like put off creating digital products or coaching people or whatever it is, it's all in your mind and they're probably lies, if I'm honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
yeah,
totally.
you can't like stop because of something that is that doesn't affect you, you know. So I just have like two more, you know, questions left for you. But during your experience, you know, what was the thing that you enjoyed most about the program, or something that you benefited the most from?
I really enjoyed being able to plug into such high achieving couple. So like you and Doug, I think, you know, you guys did the work to transform, take your mindset to the next level, and really achieve really big, great things. And I think that is part of the transformation, is investing in other people that have done that. And when I was able to kind of, I'm using the term like plug into your
Yeah.
energy, it just showed me how I could transform and what was possible for me. And I think that's what I really benefited from, is because I think I just remember like watching YouTube videos, and I just remember the thought coming in my head. I'm like, am I going to be the person that just continues to watch YouTube videos?
Yeah.
Or can I be the person that is making income, making impact, talking to people and teaching people? Um, and that's kind of like the amazing thing that I've been able to do because I invested with you guys.
Yeah.
And you always had everybody's back. You were always open and honest. And I think the cool thing about your mentorship style is that you're always like making sure we're one step ahead of ourselves and seeing big picture versus just like getting stuck on the minute details, which is why I think other people aren't unable to accomplish the kinds of goals that they set out for themselves, is that they get stuck somewhere and they can't see outside of it. But having you as a mentor and having Doug as a mentor too, you guys were able to kind of help us see bigger picture and think next step, so that
Mhm.
we stayed ahead of those like roadblocks that would be in our way.
Yeah, well, seriously, thank you. That means so much. I never know what to say when people compliment, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I think the same thing for me, like whenever I invest in someone that's just making more money, to be honest, to be frank,
Mm-hmm.
or someone that, you know, lives a life that I want to live, like I have to invest in that person for me personally, just because I need to know how they think. It's like, yes, they're going to give you, and that's what we do, templates and worksheets and trainings and click here and then click here and then do this. But it's more about like, how do they make their business decisions? Like, how do they not let the people in their life affect their energy? And how do they not let themselves sabotage their success? Like, why are they able to break out of this like rat race wheel that influencers are in, or that people that work 8 to 5 jobs are in? Like, I mean, they call them the 1%. I'm not saying I'm the 1%, but they call them, you know, those types of people that are able to do ridiculous things in a short period of time, the top, because they think completely different than everybody else. So I opted to things personally because I need to know how they think. You know, it's so interesting because they do not do things like everybody else. And I'm not saying I'm like a crazy, amazing person at all, but I totally understand you for that. And, you know, we all can learn something from each other. I learned so much from Casey. It's ridiculous. So, but yeah, the last thing I guess is, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at It's Casey Vu. So ITSKCVU.
Easy. Yeah,
Pretty easy.
you guys can check out her products. I mean, if you're interested in anything that I do, you're going to be interested in her stuff, like absolutely, because like we keep saying, you know, mindset for business is so crucial even before you start a business, because then you're not even going to start if you don't have the right mindset, in my opinion. But yeah, thank you so much, Casey. I seriously appreciate it. You're amazing. You're the best.